It's an honor to be before you today and to remind the importance of children in our life. It is an honor to be invited here again a year later to stand before you and to remind how sustainable development is important not only to adults but also to kids. And probably we can argue that, hey, sir, sustainable development goals are not for children, they are for society. They talk about inclusion, economics, but I can say, oh, wait a second, they are for children, and I'm going to talk about it right now. And together we will see why implementing those goals impact our own future and is the only chance to, as someone can say, to leave a positive legacy to show that our generation at least has done something positive to the children. Well, some colleagues can see that the picture is not mine because it looks a bit a younger version of myself. Well, since we are going to talk about children, it is important also to present a picture that looks a bit younger. So, to go to the core of the subject, we can say that the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, they go beyond geographical boundaries, meaning they are not limited to one country, they are not limited to one world region, they are not limited to a certain philosophy, but they embody the whole humanity. Overall, we have 17 goals, 169 targets, and 231 unique indicators that attempt to assert synergy, economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental sustainability. In one word, what do we try to say? We try to say we want to leave a better world to our children. What is sustainability? Very simple. Sustainability is the capacity, the ability to use what we have now and to leave it to the next generation, to the people that are coming after you. So if this generation, for example, will talk about sustainability, the question is, whatever we have been enjoying, benefiting from this world, will we be able to leave it to our children? The fresh air, for example, clean access to clean water, countries without war. Whatever we have benefited from this world, can we be sure we are able to leave it to the next generation? And that is all the problem. And that is why we are here, to find ways, to find solutions, how to make it happen, not only in Europe, where we are doing quite well in Europe, but to make it global. Children are central, of course, to the SDGs, not because the SDGs are not necessary about children, but the SDGs are for children. The SDGs are for the next generation. The SDGs are for them because we want to make this world a better place for them. And those goals we are talking about, the 17 goals, recognize the unique vulnerabilities of children and emphasize their rights, which are encompassed in, if we take the SDG number 3, good health and well-being. If we take the SDG number 4, quality education, not only education, not any kind of education, not a poor education, not teachers that are not trained, not classrooms that are not well equipped, not classrooms that are maybe dangerous even for children and the teachers, but well-equipped classrooms, well-equipped and trained teachers. In one word, quality education. And that is actually a big problem because the UN could just say, well, education, quite simple. So some countries can say, well, we have education, we have classrooms, well, maybe it's not free education, but still we do have access to it. No. Quality education, and that is what your children deserve. If we move forward, for example, and we see the SDG number 16, this is where we do have also a problem in Europe. Well, it talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions. Awesome. Now, talking about peace, well, you have to see, or you have to remember that in most European universities, we have stopped teaching, for example, what is called international humanitarian law. I know Judge Peter Kovac is here, and he won't be very happy about it, but we did stop teaching that because many people thought that, well, Europe is not subject to war anymore. We don't have a war theater here. We don't have conflict in Europe. Where do we see wars? In Asia, for example. You can see war in Africa. You see genocides in Africa. You see war maybe in Latin America, but nothing related with that in Europe. So in a way, we left some mechanisms, we left some priorities, what we could have do to improve that situation. That's why peace nowadays is a problem in our borders. That's why today we are trying to build a better, a stronger European Union. That's why we are trying to have an alliance to answer to the challenges that we are facing today. And that also is included in the SDGs. And why? Well, because we have to leave a country to our children where they can go to classrooms. Because if we live in countries that are subject to war, if we live in countries that are attacked every day, if we live in countries that are bombed every day, if we live in countries that we cannot protect, if we live in countries with borders that are penetrated every single day, every single minute, well, you cannot say, oh, we are implementing the SDGs, the 17 goals, we are quite good. You cannot say that because you don't provide the peace to your children, the peace necessary for them to study, the peace necessary for them to have the quality education, the peace necessary for them to be healthy, the peace necessary for them to be just human beings, to be just children. If we continue from there, we can see the overarching goal of leaving no one behind, which is very important. Meaning what? We don't leave one single kid behind. No matter the color, no matter the country, no matter the region, no matter the continent, or no matter the philosophy of those children, no matter the religion, allow me to say that, we don't leave one kid behind. And that, of course, includes kids to ensure they have to benefit regardless of the age, gender, and economic status, meaning it doesn't matter who their parents are. So by addressing those root causes of poverty, equality, and environment degradation, and if we take this point over here, you will see why European countries are mostly implementing or passing environmental-related policies, and that is very important. Now, we have already spoken about quality education because I know you are all tired and you want to go, but this is my presentation. So we have spoken about quality education. We know that the word quality is very important and we have to keep it. Why? Because in this context, we need empowerment tools. Without education, well, there's one story actually I forgot. I do have a colleague at the University of Maribor, and when he sees me every time, he tells me, quality education should not be goal number 4, it should be goal number 1. And then I'm like, sir, it's not me, it's not my fault, I was not there. So definitely, why not? Without education, well, you cannot fight poverty. Without education, how can you fight against hunger? Because you need to be trained, you need to be educated to know how to fight for yourself. You need to be educated to know that you need to move from one situation to the other. You need education to, in a way, to cooperate with other people. You need education to be aware of your own situation, draft a plan, find solutions, and fight out of it to be in a better world. So without education, nothing is happening. So SDG number 4, yes, for some people it can be SDG number 1, but this is not the debate. Anyway, just to let you know, it is very important, and of course, it has to be of quality, and that's why I'm very thankful to be part of this forum and to use this opportunity also to congratulate the leaders of this institution, because what they are doing is exactly implementing SDG number 4, quality education for you, of course, and for your children. And if we continue, the next nexus of the SDGs for children, definitely we have to talk about the SDG number 5, gender equality. Gender equality in this sense doesn't mean necessarily what you think it means, because even the CRC promotes gender equality in various articles by recognizing the right of girls and boys without discrimination. So at the time, SDG number 5 further emphasizes ending discrimination, violence, harmful practice on gender. So for example, when we spoke about armed conflict, so we saw that girls, unfortunately, are victims to sexual violences. They are mostly targeted. So are boys as well. So over here, we are not talking about protecting one about positive discrimination, but we are talking about giving our children the best they deserve, giving or in a way trying to implement the best interest because it is the right. If we continue to some point I have marked to share with you, we have access to water and sanitation. So access to clean water is very important. Why? No water, no life. Why are we sending sounds to other planets? Why are we sending rockets to find life in space? We are looking for water. No water, no life. And even water is so scarce or becoming so scarce that some countries already are fighting to protect the water resource, and water is not just a resource anymore, but it is blue gold as it is now called. So access to clean water focuses on ensuring not only water, but sanitation, availability, and sustainable management. Access to water and sanitation is crucial as well, of course, for children's health and their well-being. And in the CRC, you will see that at Article 27, access to clean water, which is complemented by SDGs number 6 through its aim to ensure universal access to safe and affordable drinking water and sanitation, thereby directly benefiting the children. From there, we can jump to SDG number 14, life below Earth, and of course also just life on land, life on earth. So why do we protect life? Why do we have to protect life? Well, you are life yourself. And being able to protect life is being able to live your sustainability, is to be able to live whatever you have earned to your children. And it is very important. And it is not possible to achieve that without partnership. Meaning what? Without international cooperation, without international law. Because we do sometimes think that international law is so complex, it's so hard to come to consensus, it's so hard to find a common agreement with many countries. Why do we have war in our world? Because two countries cannot find an agreement, because a number of countries cannot find an agreement, and they are fighting until maybe the last one accept the condition of the others, because we don't have strong mechanisms, we don't have strong institutions. So SDG number 7 is very important over here. Why? Because it talks about partnership, finding solution, finding the right solution to our problem, and it emphasizes, of course, the importance of global partnership for securing not only sustainable development, but for making this world a better place. Now, you have to see that most of the countries try, because it is understandable that the SDGs are beneficial to everybody, to adults, to the children, to the countries, because they encompasses not only economic growth, social inclusion, but this is just the best agenda for a better sustainable life and to keep life on our planet. So you have national policies implementing the SDGs that were, for example, in the European Union, you have the Green Deal, you have the new European Bauhaus, you have the new EU climate law, and in many other countries, national regulations to implement the SDGs, which are very important. And of course, when we talk about policies, we need monitoring, because we can have a lot of policies, we can have conventions, we can have protocols. What happens? We do have a lot of protocols, we are still witnessing war in the world. Right? We do have many legislations, we are still witnessing attacks everywhere. And our world, our civilization has been better some years, and without or witnessing everything we have, all the materials, all the intelligence we have, we are living in a more challengeable world, and it should be actually the opposite. We should be living in a better world with our intelligence, with all the conventions we have now available. Back then, we didn't have the CRC. Back then, we didn't have the SDGs. Back then, we didn't have the MDGs. We didn't have none of that. But we were able still to live in a better world. And now with all this, we are still struggling to implement all that in our life. So it is very important to pay attention to monitoring mechanisms, and we have to say that in the European Union we are doing quite well, even if there are still challenges. We have to highlight the achievement, for example, of decent work and economic growth in the EU SDG 8, the reduction of poverty, which is still, of course, one of the main areas many other countries are working on, and we have to also to talk about gender equality, which is in a way well implemented in the EU. So well, SDGs and children, are they related? Should we talk about it? I think we need to talk about it. Why? Because it is the only way to leave our mark. It is the only way to talk about greatness, because a civilization, a generation that is not able to take care of its children, a generation that is eating its own children, will just disappear. So in order for us to exist, we need to empower our children, because through our children, we will exist. Thank you.